Hello, everybody. This is my first podcast of I'm just talking about what I'm talking about. I want to say hello to everybody who took the time to listen and look, depending on what format that you're looking on. Let's get right to it. So, I just want to talk about the coronavirus. This is the coronavirus time. Everybody's locked down, unfortunately. So I, like everybody else, have been sitting here. Not much to do. You can't go to restaurants, and you can't go nowhere. So just my thoughts on it. I think it's a little bit overblown. Um, I'm sure it's bad, it's dangerous, and maybe worse than I think. What do I know? I'm not a doctor, but you know, I'm looking at the stats, and I'm looking at the stats between that and the flu. Is it worse than the flu? There have been many really bad pandemics with the flu, and many people unfortunately die from the flu. So is this worse than the flu? Is this overblown? Is this political? I don't know. Anyway, I'm at home, locked down, and that's my thoughts on that. I hope everything straightens out. Um, I am waiting on that stimulus check, though. Hopefully, I get my stimulus check soon, and very soon. I could use that. So I'm hoping to get that stimulus check in the mail or direct deposit. I don't know how they're going to do that. So I need my stimulus check. Uh, what do y'all think about the stimulus check, though? I mean, do y'all think that the stimulus check is like really going to help? Who should get it? Should it be everybody? Should businesses get it? My thought is that, if you give it to people, businesses don't really need it, right? Because if people who had to miss work or work time has been augmented, if they got the money to pay the rent or whatever like that, then, I think that's really personally all that's needed. It seems to me like, as normal, they sneak in money and different rules and regulations into the bill. So it's not just, the average Joe getting the check. Rather, it's, probably actually businesses and big interest getting the checks. And then, some crumbs go to the common man. But either way, I still want my check because I need my check. So, what have I been doing? I got a few little notes here on my phone, and I just want to talk about what I've been doing since, I've been basically locked down. I've been watching Netflix, Hulu, Amazon, Apple TV. I got all of those. I don't have Disney Plus anymore. I tried it. Wasn't that impressed, but that's another story. So, I did like The Mandalorian. If you haven't seen The Mandalorian, it's the only thing worth watching on Disney Plus. The Mandalorian is cool, and you don't even have to wait every week like I did to watch it. So just word to the wise: when the new season comes out, they're gonna probably give it out one episode a week. So that's good. But outside of that, it's everything I've already seen before. So I've been watching the big thing that I've been watching. And I finished the whole season. If you haven't seen it, then you have to see this. All right, take my glasses off. You have to watch this. You have to watch The Godfather of Harlem on Epix. That's Epix. 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 It is awesome. Forrest Whitaker is the main character. He plays the character Bumpy Johnson. Who I believe is a real life character. I'm sure it's dramatized to some degree, but he's a gangster in New York, in Harlem, back in the 60s, early 60s. So it is worth watching. I happen to have Comcast cable, and if you have Comcast cable, at least in this area, you get Epix free. I got an email, you get Epix free. Otherwise, you have to subscribe to it, similar to Netflix. There are some other shows on it. I have not checked any of them, but The Godfather of Harlem is worth doing whatever you got to do to get Epix. That's Epix, EPIX. It is the best show on TV. Period. Now, so I watched that whole season pretty much in like 2 days. I watched some of these are going to surprise you a bit. So I watched The Tick on Amazon Prime. If anybody has Amazon Prime, I watched The Tick on Amazon Prime. It's hilarious. There's 2 seasons. I like it. It's many of you may remember there was a cartoon I think in the 90s called The Tick, and it's based off of that, and it's silly, but it gets you sucked in. Like I said, by the time I watched it, there was already 2 seasons, which I love when I get hip to something late and it already got a season or 2 out, so I can just watch through season 1, season 2, or 3 sometimes. So The Tick was funny to me. I liked it. Of course, Jack Ryan. I started watching Jack Ryan, hadn't finished it, but it is good. So if you haven't seen it, that's good. I started. Amazon Prime has probably some of the worst movies in existence. They have some good ones, don't get me wrong, but if you want to watch a bad movie, they have a plethora of bad movies. I'll give you an example. So I watched The Three-Headed Shark, which is not that bad actually. And then I watched The Four-Headed Shark, which is the sequel. Terrible. And then I watched The Five-Headed Shark. Five-head shark. Shark, 5 heads. So actually it just, if you're curious, it's 4 heads on the front, and then there's the tail is actually a head. So it swims and it eats people with all 5 of the heads. So terrible movie. So if you want to watch a terrible movie, watch The Five-Headed Shark. It's bad, but some people like terrible movies. That's a terrible movie. So you can watch The Five-Headed Shark on Amazon Prime. Hulu. So I had started watching The Handmaid's Tale. I was told The Handmaid's Tale. Watch The Handmaid's Tale. So I'm a little late on that. I watched it. It's pretty good. I stopped watching it. I didn't finish the whole season because the whole first season. It is pretty good. It's creepy, as everybody probably knows if you've seen it, and it to me gets it's a little bit too much. Like it's like 1/2 a step down from porn. And I don't, let me just take these glasses off. It's about a 1/2 a step down from porn because the sex scenes in there are, to me, unnecessary. I mean, and that's true in a lot of shows today, in my humble opinion. They don't got to show everything. I mean, what happened to the days back in the day? Do y'all remember back in the day when, like, at the end, the guy and the girl, the guy would kiss the girl, and then the curtains would close and fireworks would go off, and then it would fade to black, and that was it. And you knew what happened. You knew what was going down behind the curtain. But now it's like everything is like boom, let's just raw dog, and I'm like, man, I don't really want to see that. Leave some to the imagination, in my opinion. It's not necessary. You know what I'm saying? That's all I'm saying. So, but as far as the plot and everything, it's an interesting plot. It's a very interesting plot. It's worth watching for that sake. It kind of like, if you're a guy though, it kind of is like, man, like all men are bad. That's kind of my take on it. It's like men, are all bad and evil and kind of, and I'm like, I didn't do it. You know what I mean? So I don't know, it's a bit of that. So, that part is kind of, I don't like it, but I can see past that. And it is it's a pretty good concept and premise. I think it's based off a book, I'm sure, like anything else. So of course the big one, Netflix, right? Everybody's got Netflix, right? Everybody's got somebody else's Netflix. But anyway, so Netflix, I actually have Netflix. I actually have T-Mobile telephone service, which I have no problems with, and it actually comes with Netflix for free. Just FYI. So, everybody's been on Netflix. I've been on Netflix for years and years and years. Probably one of my favorite shows of all times is Luke Cage, one of the Marvel series. Luke Cage was awesome. I think there were 2 seasons of that. Jessica Jones is not bad. It's also a Marvel series that was on Netflix. Those are both, in my opinion, pretty good. Um, I'm also a fan of. There's a show called 3%. It's actually a Brazilian show that they made. I think it's 3 seasons now. The first season is the best. And you have to get used to because it's dubbed. So the people are actually speaking in Portuguese, but you can get it. You can listen in English, but their mouth is a little off sync. So, but I like it. 3%. But what I've been watching here lately is, believe it or not, it's kind of weird. So, as of late, what I've been watching on Netflix is, that's right, the Andy Griffin Show. The Andy Griffin Show is on Netflix. I don't know if all the seasons or what is on there, but I'm watching it starting from the very beginning. When Aunt B came, right? The first episode, Aunt B wasn't even there. It was some other lady. She left and got married, bounced. Opie was sad. Aunt B came in. Opie didn't like Aunt B because Aunt B didn't know how to fry the chicken right, and then they wind up, getting together, but he liked it. He tasted the chicken, and the fried chicken was good. It's all good. There you go. And the rest is history, as they say. So I've been watching the Andy Griffith Show. Great show, man. Absolutely wonderful show. I started watching a couple of other shows and I couldn't finish them. I'm with my son, so we watch some of the kiddie shows or whatever. If you have kids, small kids, depending on the age or whatever, there's some good stuff on there. I got hooked on Ninjago. My son doesn't like it, but I am watching Ninjago, and it goes on and on and on. I will admit that because I think I'm on like season 6, and Ninjago is good. He don't even like it, but I like it. Ninjago is pretty good. So I like Ninjago. That's something for the whole family or whatever. I actually also watch, and my son does, like the old school, anybody who's like 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, you remember the old cartoon Super Mario Brothers. Well, the Super Mario Brothers cartoon is on Netflix. I like it. My son likes it. It's great. Now, I'll tell you what I'm not watching on Netflix. I I tried to watch the show called Miss Virginia. Now, Miss Virginia has a young lady. I think her name is Uzo Aduba. And if you saw Orange Is the New Black, I believe that it's her. I don't know if that's her name, but it's her. And she was very good in that show. And that's a whole nother show. That show was pretty good, but it got a little weird. Started off weird, but it was pretty good. It's a good show. But the movie made me mad the whole time, so I couldn't finish it because the basic premise of it is that this single mom in I think it's Baltimore, kind of inner city. Son is on the wrong path. I think he's in, just getting into high school, hanging with the wrong friends, skipping school, and just going down the wrong path. And she's upset about it. And so she essentially works extra jobs to get him in some private school that she really can't afford. And that's the premise of it. And I'm sure there's a lot more to it and all of that. And I liked the premise when I read about it. So I looked at it. Now, it made me mad because when I'm watching it, she should have put her hands on the boy. Like, that was the problem. Like, she's complaining and talking to this boy like, oh, I'm trying to get you to do right, and I need you to make sure you go to class and everything. No. You go into class now, because I told you to. Like, and so it was hard for me to watch because I'm like, you should have put your hands on that boy, and it'd be the end of the movie. You could just roll the credits. Credit scene. A lot of movies you could do that. If they were just real, the credits, it'd be a 15-minute movie, So I didn't like it. Some of you people who don't believe in putting your hands on children, you'll like it. You'll get it, and I'm sure you'll love it. And I'm glad you enjoy it, but I couldn't watch it. I couldn't finish it because it was so against, my personal upbringing and beliefs. Not that I'm an advocate of beating children. But I do believe in, I guess corporal punishment is the name of it or whatever like that. Even though as a child we grew up, we called it beating, but I understand that some people are sensitive towards that. And but we, as you know, people that I grew up with here in the South, in Alabama, if you're wondering, we called it beating. You're gonna get a beating. Right. And so I got a lot of beatings, but I needed those beatings. And I thank God for those beatings. And I thank parents for my beatings, because if it wasn't for those beatings, I don't know what I'd be doing. You know, I'm already got a lot of issues. How many more issues I would have if I didn't get all them beatings? You know, coincidentally, y'all ever get a beating for something you didn't do? I got one of those. I got a beating for for something I didn't do. And it got proven unequivocally that later on that I did not do it. And the answer that my parents gave was, oh, well, you did something that you never got caught before, so this just balances it out. Yeah, that really happened. And I couldn't really be mad because I know that I did do something that I didn't get caught. So I just kind of let that one go. Chalk that up to the game, I guess. You know, I guess that's how it goes sometimes. So also, back to what I've been watching. I've been watching YouTube as well. Of course, probably many people watch YouTube. I spend a lot of time watching YouTube. Hopefully this video goes up on YouTube. I don't know. So we'll see. But YouTube is great. If you got small kids, okay, so I'm a child of the 80s, and I have a boy, right? And one of the concerns of mine is, man, a lot of the cartoons, man, they too soft, man. Girls or boys, they're too soft, man. The cartoons, they like holding hands and singing Kumbaya. Nothing wrong with holding hands and singing Kumbaya. But, you know, I want something to get blowed up, right? That's what I grew up with, right? I want something to get blowed up, you know, something like swords and laser beams and something like that, you know? So, I've been watching YouTube, old school cartoons with my son. Top cartoon that I like the most, that he loves, I like it, that is He-Man. He-Man is off the chain. I went back and watched it because it's been a while since I watched it, you know, and the first season especially is off the chain. He-Man basically does whatever he wants to do. He just walks around and punches things and kicks things, and that's it. That's it. And later, you know, they start to progress and they start having a moral to the story at the end of the story. You know, He-Man would sit down and say, Man-at-Arms had a problem with anger. So what did he do with anger? What is the right thing to do? And so forth like that. And that's wonderful. You got a lesson at the end. You know, you got He-Man jump kicking Skeletor out the Castle Grayskull. Awesome. And then you say, the reason why I jump kicked this dude out the Castle Grayskull is because anger is not good. That's what I'm talking about right there. That's life lessons right there. That's deep. That will last you forever. You know, so I want my son to watch that. We're watching He-Man. Awesome show. Just thought about it. Also, the old school for Netflix, the old school Pac-Man show cartoon is also on Netflix. I like it. My son likes it. He doesn't like it that much, but he likes it a little bit. So that's pretty good. And a side, I'm gonna give a small accolade to the Motown has a cartoon for kids on Netflix. Motown, you know, the old school Motown doo-wop, you know, when they do that, you know, doo-wop, 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 that Motown. And they play like the Motown songs, but it's like, you know, with kids like modern day and stuff like that. It's pretty cool. You know, they play all those songs, you know, the Stevie Wonder, Little Stevie Wonder, Temptations, Four Tops, Supremes, you know it, you know, all of that good stuff. So it's pretty cool though. Now I'm gonna tell you what I'm not watching on regular TV though. Man, I am not watching Real Housewives of nothing, because I have a fundamental problem with the Real Housewives of anything that you put after that sentence right there, right? Because what I understand is that a lot of these women, I think it's less so now, but a lot of these women ain't married, or like, because, so, okay. Fundamentally, to be a housewife, you have to be married. That's how it works. Fundamentally, you have to be married to be a housewife. It's in the name, okay? And I think it's kind of misleading And so I think it's wrong to call it Real Housewives of whatever, right? First of all, they're not even real, right? That's not normal, right? That's not Real Housewives. That's fake people acting out for more money, basically, is what it should be called. Um, and a lot of these women, they marry some dude, they got a nice jump shot, or or whatever, and or had a baby by the dude. And and listen, I'm not taking away. Listen, I hope they do the thing or whatever, but I don't understand why I'm watching these people. Why? What skill have they achieved? What great thing have they done to be worthy of me watching them? You know what I'm saying? I'm not. I don't like if somebody invented the cure to coronavirus. Well, I want to look at them. I want to see what they talking about. Speaking of that, Netflix has a show about Bill. It's the Microsoft dude, Bill Gates, right? In the mind of Bill Gates. I want to watch that. I watched the first episode. It was good, by the way, back to Netflix. Bill Gates, in the mind of Bill Gates, good. Bill Gates, get it, okay? I want to watch Bill Gates. Now, they got a show about Madam C.J. Walker on Netflix. Haven't seen it yet, but I want to see it. You know why? Because Madam C.J. Walker did something, right? She gave perms to all the black women out there, and she was like the first, I think, black millionaire in America. Period. Man, woman, whatever, right? That's what I'm talking about. I want to watch that. If Madam C.J. Walker was walking around today, I would watch her reality show. You know what I'm saying? I would watch that. She'd be in the back putting hot combs or whatever. I would watch that Madam C.J. Walker reality show. But these people, I don't understand who these people are. I don't, I understand I'm talking out of my ignorance, but I don't want to see all that. That's what I'm not watching. Now, of course, everybody's caught up in, the politics right now. The Democratic primary is, I guess, still going on. So not sure exactly what's happening with the Democratic primary. But it's still going on, I guess, whatever. So everybody's kind of, I guess, stepped back from that, but not really sure. Some people, they're for Trump. Some people are for anybody else. They would vote for the devil before they vote for Donald Trump. And, wherever you fall in line politically, I don't think that I have no problem with people voting whatever they want to vote. I'm just going to be honest with you, because it's a free country. That is why I like this country, because you can vote for whoever you want to vote for, even if it's not popular. You have the right to vote, and and really can't nobody say nothing to you, right? Because you voted for how you wanted to vote, right? I don't feel like people should be pressured to vote any kind of way. You vote your conscience, right? And so this is a free country. So I'm for the democratic process. I'm for the people speaking and saying what we want or don't want. Right. So, people could say, they talk about, the popular vote and all of that. Well, there's been just FYI, there've been a lot of presidents who have not won the popular vote. Just FYI. But, that's not how the system works. I'm okay with changing the system, but I'm not for really anybody, just if you're wondering. Oh, and I missed my note. YouTube. Let me back it all the way up. YouTube, another show that I'm watching. It's an old school show. It's crazy, I know, but I'm watching like TV shows on YouTube. Show I'm watching is the Sinbad Show. You probably don't remember this show. I hardly remember the show, but it came out like in the 90s, like 94, 95, I suppose. But it was called the Sinbad Show. It was only one season, and I think the whole season is on YouTube. It's great. I didn't remember how good it was. It has Sinbad. I forget the guy. His best friend is some comedian, I believe. It's got Selma Hayek on there, and it's got Ray J on there. Ray J, young Ray J, is the young boy on the show. Great show. Shouldn't have been canceled. Really, it should have been going a couple of more seasons. Awesome show. I tell you, watch that. It's a great show. It really is. It's a good show. Sinbad on YouTube. Sinbad happens to be one of my idols. One of the people that I look up to as far as like comedy is concerned. He's always been that guy, in my opinion. And I think that when people talk about kings of comedy and this and that. Like, I think that they don't really know what they're talking about. I think people say kings of comedy as if like people who are vulgar are somehow funnier inherently. And that doesn't make any sense. Like, you can't tell me nobody who won't laugh from watching a Sinbad special. You can't find me one person on earth that going to look at any of his specials. You got a couple of them, and they like won't be like on the ground laughing. So Sinbad is one of the top comedians that I know of, and Bill Cosby is one of the top comedians of all time. Period. Right? I don't care if Bill Cosby was out there popping pills with women on the freeway, jumping over ramps with nuns on the bottom of it. Listen, that's separate, right? Okay. Bill Cosby's show ain't got anything to do with Bill Cosby late night. You know what I'm saying? That's two separate things. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, because if you have to hold everybody to that standard, just a side note, if you have to hold everybody to that standard, you won't have no works of art, right? Because I guarantee you that all of those people, you know, the Mona Lisa and all of these great artworks that everybody did, man, woman, whatever, they done some dirt. Okay, so you have to separate the dirt from the art, right? I mean, we don't get mad at we're like, okay, the founding fathers, we love this country, right? I love this country. You know, I love the Constitution. It's a great document. But a lot of them dudes was really, really racist. Okay, but I can separate the two. I can separate the fact that these dudes was extremely racist and saying from the fact that they said we hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men were created equal, right? I don't know about all men, right? but so, I mean, I can separate the fact, you know, that the hypocrisy in it. We all hypocrites, you know what I'm saying? So, I mean, we striving to be better. Don't get me wrong. I'm just saying that you have to separate the art or the works of someone from their personal life. I believe that is necessary, because you couldn't hold anybody up, you know, other than Jesus, you know, and that's the only person you really need to hold up that way is Jesus. You know, speaking of that, you know, church is closed. That's crazy. I don't recall ever seeing where church was closed. Now, I mean, I guess it's not closed. I mean, you can go online and you can stream your church, you know, and everything. Thank God for, you know, it's 2020. So you can stream, you can watch, you could have always watched, you know, videos of pastors on YouTube. Shout out to TD Jakes. Shout out to Joel Osteen. And I forgot the guy in Atlanta, but I can't remember his name. And it ain't Creflo Dollar, it's another guy. Anyway, I like him. But anyway, so it's crazy though. It's crazy. I try to go to church. I was raised that way, and I think it's the right thing to do. But I can't go. That's crazy. So what do y'all think about that, man? What do y'all think about church being closed? That's crazy, man. It's just insane, you know. So anyway, that's what I've been doing today. I've been thinking about church because today's Sunday, the Lord's Day. I've been sitting here cleaning up. That's a good thing. I've been cleaned up. I know it don't look that clean, you know, but I had to do some things. I'm working on that. Don't worry about that thing up there. I'm working on some stuff. But anyway, been working on some things, working on myself, trying to meditate, exercising. Are y'all exercising out there? Are you running? Are you walking? Walk outside. Let the wind blow on you, like my mama say. You know, get out there and do something, you know, and don't just sit up in there, man. And, you know, some of you might be working, some of you ain't. You know, I wish everybody God bless. You know, I wish everybody to be prosperous, and I hope that this Corona thing blows over and everything goes back to normal and we all get them stimulus checks. Remember that part, stimulus checks. Lord, I need that stimulus check. Stimulus check. Everybody pray for stimulus check. Big stimulus check. Not them little stimulus check. We want them big stimulus check. Have a good one. God bless you.